Welcome to the deep dive, where we kind of take a stack of research and try to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, I guess you could say.
That's a great way to put it.
So today we are diving into something incredibly relevant to all of us, family relationships. Specifically, we're going to explore this topic through the lens of Ihsan, an Islamic concept encompassing righteousness, good conduct, and excellence. And our guide for this deep dive is the wisdom found in Sunan al Tirmidhi, Volume 4,
Okay.
a collection of hadith sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad compiled by Imam Tirmidhi.
It's fascinating how Sunan al Tirmidhi frames this discussion.
Yeah.
It doesn't just offer feel-good advice on getting along with relatives,
Right.
but presents it with a sense of urgency and deep spiritual consequence.
Yeah, it's almost like having a direct line to the Prophet Muhammad himself for advice on building strong, fulfilling relationships with our relatives.
I love that.
It's a treasure trove of timeless wisdom applicable even in our modern world.
Absolutely. And it starts by addressing a fundamental principle: the gravity of severing ties with relatives, particularly those connected by blood.
Right from the start, Hadith 1909 sets a powerful tone. The one who severs ties of kinship will not enter paradise.
Oh.
It really makes you pause and think about the weight of our actions within the family unit.
This isn't just about having a family feud or a disagreement.
Right.
Severing ties in this context implies a complete and deliberate break in communication and relationship, especially with those closest to us by blood.
Okay, so it's serious business, but we also know that family dynamics can be incredibly complex. So how does this concept of severing ties play out in the context of real-life challenges? Like, let's say, dealing with toxic behavior or abuse within a family.
That's a great question, and it's crucial to understand that Islamic teachings always prioritize safety and well-being.
Right.
While maintaining ties is important, it doesn't mean enduring harm or staying in situations that are detrimental to your physical or mental health.
So there's a balance to be struck.
Yeah.
But what about seeking reconciliation, even in difficult situations?
Reconciliation is definitely encouraged, and it's seen as a highly virtuous act. However, it's important to approach it with wisdom and discernment.
Okay.
Sometimes creating healthy boundaries or seeking professional guidance might be necessary steps towards eventual reconciliation.
This kind of nuances the initial starkness of the hadith.
Yeah.
It's not like a black and white rule, but rather an encouragement to be mindful of the importance of these bonds while navigating the complexities of human relationships.
Precisely. It's a reminder that our connection to our family is a sacred trust, a responsibility that extends beyond our immediate feelings or experiences.
Okay, so it's not enough to just avoid cutting people off completely.
Right.
Sunan al Tirmidhi encourages us to actively cultivate positive relationships with our relatives.
Absolutely. Hadith 1920 beautifully captures this, stating, "He is not one of us who does not have mercy on our young and respect for our old." This emphasizes the importance of nurturing relationships across generations.
I love how this hadith highlights the interconnectedness of generations and the mutual respect we owe each other regardless of age. It's about recognizing the unique contributions of each stage of life and fostering a sense of harmony within the family unit.
Exactly. Think
But-
about it. The young bring energy, new ideas, and a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
The elders carry wisdom, experience, and a deep understanding of family history and traditions.
Yeah. It's like a beautiful ecosystem where everyone has a vital role to play.
It is.
But what does actively nurturing these relationships look like in practice? What specific actions are encouraged?
The Hadith and Islamic teachings offer a wealth of examples. Simple acts like visiting relatives, especially elders, offering help with chores, listening attentively to their stories and concerns, speaking kindly, remembering birthdays and special occasions. These gestures, while seemingly small, go a long way in strengthening bonds.
It's about being present, not just physically, but emotionally as well.
Yes.
Showing genuine interest in their lives and making them feel valued and appreciated.
Yes, and it's also about offering guidance and support when needed. And that's where the concept of nasiha comes in.
Okay.
It's a central theme in this volume of Sunan al Tirmidhi.
Here's where things get interesting. Nasiha is often translated as advice, but it's much more than just giving tips or opinions. It's about offering sincere, well-intentioned guidance that genuinely benefits the recipient.
Yes.
It stems from a place of deep care and concern, especially within the family.
Exactly. It's about wanting what's truly best for your relatives, even if it means having difficult conversations or addressing sensitive issues. Hadith 1925, where Jarir pledges to the Prophet to give sincere advice to every Muslim, beautifully exemplifies this principle.
So nasiha within a family isn't about dictating terms or imposing your will,
Right.
but about offering guidance that comes from a place of love and a desire to see your relatives thrive.
Oh, wow.
It can be a delicate balance of honesty and compassion, especially when navigating sensitive topics.
Think of it like this. Imagine a close friend coming to you for advice. You wouldn't sugarcoat things or avoid the hard truths, but you'd also approach the situation with empathy and a genuine desire to help.
Right.
It's that same spirit of care and concern that should guide nasiha within the family.
This deep dive is really highlighting the importance of communication within families.
Yes.
And not just surface-level chit-chat, but deep, meaningful conversations where we can offer and receive nasiha. It takes courage and vulnerability on both sides.
Absolutely. It's about creating a safe space within the family where open and honest communication can flourish, where everyone feels heard and respected.
This reminds me of something you mentioned earlier, that this discussion isn't just about warm, fuzzy feelings.
Mm-hmm.
There are real consequences to our actions, both in this life and the hereafter.
Yes, and Hadith 1933 really drives that point home.
Okay.
The blood of a Muslim is unlawful to another Muslim, his honor, his wealth, and his blood. This statement goes beyond just the immediate family and extends to the entire Muslim community.
It establishes the sanctity and inviolability of every individual within the community.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that our actions have consequences that ripple outward, impacting not just our immediate circle, but the wider social fabric.
Think about how protective we feel of our own family's reputation and well-being. This hadith extends that same sense of responsibility to the entire Muslim community, creating a framework of mutual respect and protection.
Almost like a ripple effect. How we treat our families sets the tone for how we interact with the wider community. If we cultivate respect, compassion, and justice within our homes, those values will naturally extend outwards.
And this idea of responding to negativity with virtue, it's a recurring theme in Sunan al Tirmidhi, and it applies not just to dealing with difficult family members, but also to interactions within the broader community.
You're referencing Hadith 2006, where a man asked the Prophet Muhammad if he should reciprocate the poor treatment he received from someone. The Prophet advises him to be hospitable regardless.
Right.
It's a powerful example of choosing kindness over retaliation, even when it's hard.
It's about breaking the cycle of negativity.
Yeah.
It takes immense strength and character to respond to negativity with grace and forgiveness, but the rewards are immeasurable.
It's like planting a seed of compassion in a barren land.
Mm-hmm.
It may take time to bloom, but it has the potential to transform the entire landscape.
Exactly. And who better to embody this principle than the Prophet Muhammad himself? He was known for his exceptional patience, gentleness, and forgiving nature, even towards those who wronged him.
Speaking of the Prophet's character, Hadith 2015 beautifully illustrates this. Anas, who served the Prophet for 10 years, recounted that he never once experienced scolding or belittlement. It's a remarkable testament to his humility and compassion.
Imagine that, serving someone for 10 years and never experiencing a harsh word. It speaks volumes about the Prophet's character and the importance of treating everyone with respect and kindness, even those who are in a position of service.
It's a powerful reminder that true leadership lies in humility and compassion, not in wielding power or asserting authority.
And that's a message that resonates deeply, even centuries later. It's a model of leadership and interpersonal interactions that we can all strive to emulate in our own lives.
This first segment of our deep dive has really highlighted the profound importance of family relationships in Islamic teachings. It's not just about avoiding major sins like severing ties, but about actively nurturing these bonds through acts of kindness, compassion, and respectful communication.
And it's about recognizing that our interactions within the family have a ripple effect, influencing how we engage with the wider community and ultimately shaping the kind of society we create.
So before we move on to exploring other aspects of Ihsan in relation to family ties, I'd like to leave our listeners with a thought to ponder. What resonated most deeply with you from this segment? Is there a particular hadith or concept that sparked a new insight or inspired a desire to make a change in your own life? Take a moment to reflect on this, and we'll continue our deep dive in the next part of this episode.
It's remarkable how Sunan al Tirmidhi doesn't shy away from the complexities of family dynamics. It acknowledges that maintaining these bonds can be incredibly challenging, particularly when conflicts arise. After all, differences of opinion, personality clashes, and even hurt feelings are a natural part of any close relationship.
Yeah, that's a good point. No family is perfect, and expecting constant harmony might be setting ourselves up for disappointment. So how do these teachings guide us through the inevitable storms that arise in family life?
One of the key principles we see emphasized is responding to negativity with virtue.
Yeah.
Remember that hadith where the Prophet advised showing hospitality even to someone who had treated you poorly. That same spirit of generosity and forgiveness is crucial when navigating family conflicts.
It's easier said than done, of course. When emotions are running high, it's tempting to retaliate, to hold on to grudges, or to withdraw completely. But this hadith suggests a different path, a path of rising above the immediate impulse and choosing kindness instead.
Exactly. It's about breaking the cycle of negativity. Think about it, holding on to anger and resentment only harms us in the long run. It poisons our own hearts and prevents us from experiencing the peace and joy that come with forgiveness.
So it's not about condoning hurtful behavior, but rather about recognizing that everyone makes mistakes. It's about giving people the opportunity to redeem themselves, to grow and to heal those fractured relationships.
It's also about shifting our perspective. Instead of focusing on who is right or wrong, who's to blame, we can choose to approach the situation with empathy and understanding. Maybe the person who hurt us is going through their own struggles, their own internal battles that we're not aware of.
Right, that shift in perspective. It's not about making excuses for bad behavior, but it does create space for compassion. It allows us to see the humanity in the other person, even when their actions have been hurtful.
And sometimes that's all it takes to open the door to reconciliation. It might not happen overnight, and it might require professional guidance or mediation in some cases. But that initial act of choosing compassion can be a powerful catalyst for healing.
This concept of responding with virtue, it goes beyond just interpersonal conflicts. Sunan al Tirmidhi also highlights its importance in managing family resources, especially when it comes to inheritance.
Absolutely. Fairness and justice in inheritance matters are paramount in these teachings. There are specific guidelines to ensure that wealth is distributed equitably among heirs, with special consideration given to the needs of widows and orphans.
This is fascinating because, unfortunately, money often becomes a source of conflict within families. Disagreements over inheritance can lead to long-lasting rifts and even legal battles.
That's why having clear guidelines based on Islamic principles is so crucial. It removes ambiguity, promotes transparency, and helps prevent disputes. It's about ensuring that everyone's rights are protected and that wealth is distributed in a way that honors the deceased's wishes and upholds the principles of fairness.
So it's not just about dividing up assets after someone passes away. It's also about how we manage our finances while we're alive, ensuring that our wealth benefits our families and those in need.
That's a key point. The concept of zakat, for example, is a powerful reminder that our wealth is not truly ours alone. It's a trust from God, and we have a responsibility to use it wisely. This includes fulfilling our obligations to our families, such as providing for their basic needs, education, and well-being.
And zakat goes beyond our immediate family, extending to the wider community. It's a form of social safety net, a way to ensure that those who are struggling financially have access to resources and support.
Think about it this way. Zakat isn't just about fulfilling a religious obligation. It's a practical tool for building social equity and cohesion. It fosters a sense of collective responsibility, recognizing that we are all interconnected and have a duty to support one another.
It's a beautiful example of how Islamic teachings seamlessly weave together spiritual principles with practical actions. It's not just about personal piety, it's about creating a ripple effect of goodness that extends to our families, communities, and the world around us.
And this commitment to social responsibility is a key aspect of Ihsan. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of our actions and striving to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Speaking of interconnectedness, Sunan al Tirmidhi also places great emphasis on respecting our elders. It's presented not just as a cultural norm, but as a deeply rooted religious obligation.
Absolutely. We see this clearly in Hadith 1920, which we touched upon earlier. It explicitly states that respecting our elders is a mark of true faith. It's about recognizing their wisdom, experience, and the sacrifices they've made for us.
It's about honoring their contributions and ensuring their well-being both physically and emotionally. It's about providing for their needs, listening to their stories, and making them feel valued and appreciated.
And it's not just about passive respect. It's about actively seeking their counsel, learning from their experiences, and tapping into the wealth of knowledge they carry.
This reminds me of how, in many cultures, elders are seen as living libraries. They hold a wealth of stories, traditions, and historical knowledge that can enrich our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
It's like having a direct connection to the past. Their stories offer insights into how previous generations navigated challenges, celebrated triumphs, and preserved their cultural heritage. It's a treasure trove of wisdom that we can learn from and apply to our own lives.
So respecting elders isn't just about good manners. It's about creating a bridge between generations, fostering a sense of continuity, and recognizing the valuable role they play in shaping our families and communities.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of intergenerational connection and understanding where young and old can learn from and support each other. And this is especially important in today's rapidly changing world where traditional values and wisdom are often overlooked or even dismissed.
This deep dive into Sunan al Tirmidhi is really revealing the depth and richness of Islamic teachings on family. It's not just about obligations and duties, it's about building a vibrant, interconnected tapestry of love, respect, and mutual support.
It's a blueprint for creating a society where families thrive, communities flourish, and individuals find meaning and purpose through their connections with one another.
And it all begins with nurturing that seed of Ihsan within ourselves, allowing it to blossom into actions that make a real difference in our families, our communities, and the world around us.
And that's what makes these teachings so relevant even centuries later. They offer guidance for navigating the complexities of human relationships and for building a better world, one act of kindness, compassion, and justice at a time.
This part of our discussion has been particularly eye-opening for me. It's highlighted the nuanced ways in which Islamic teachings guide us through the challenges of family life, from navigating conflicts to managing resources and honoring our elders. It's a reminder that even in the midst of disagreements and difficulties, we can choose to respond with virtue, to prioritize forgiveness, and to build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. But there's more to explore. I'm really curious to see what other insights Sunan al Tirmidhi holds. As we delve deeper into Sunan al Tirmidhi, Volume 4, I'm struck by how it connects Ihsan, that concept of righteousness and excellence, to a much broader context. It's not just about our personal actions, but about the ripple effects those actions have on our communities and even society as a whole.
And what's so intriguing is how this volume links Ihsan to the concept of fitna, trials, tribulations, and social unrest.
Okay.
It suggests that when societies experience widespread injustice, oppression, or moral decay, it's often a reflection of a decline in Ihsan.
So it's almost like a societal barometer.
Yeah.
When people neglect their responsibilities to their families and communities, when selfishness and greed take precedence over the well-being of others, that's when fitna can take root and spread.
Precisely. It's a breakdown of those core values that uphold a healthy society. Values like compassion, justice, honesty, and respect for human dignity. When those values erode, it creates a breeding ground for conflict, instability, and suffering.
But on the flip side, this suggests that embodying Ihsan can be a powerful antidote to fitna.
Yes.
If we prioritize those values of justice, compassion, and righteousness in our interactions, not just within our families, but in all aspects of our lives, we contribute to creating a more harmonious and stable society.
Think of it as a ripple effect. Each individual act of kindness, each effort to uphold justice, each moment of choosing compassion over anger, it creates a positive wave that spreads outwards, impacting those around us and ultimately contributing to a more just and equitable world.
It's a powerful reminder that we have a responsibility not just to ourselves and our families, but to the wider community. We're not isolated individuals. We're part of a larger social fabric, and our actions have consequences that extend far beyond our immediate circle.
And this volume of Sunan al Tirmidhi doesn't just talk about passive good deeds. It emphasizes the importance of actively speaking truth to power, of standing up against injustice even when it's risky or uncomfortable.
This reminds me of Hadith 2174, where the Prophet Muhammad said, "The best form of jihad is a word of truth in the presence of a tyrannical ruler." Whoa! That hadith underscores the courage it takes to challenge oppressive systems and to speak out against wrongdoing even when facing potential consequences.
Yes, and that act of speaking truth to power is itself an expression of Ihsan. It's about striving for excellence in our moral conduct even when it's challenging. It's about aligning our actions with our values, refusing to be passive bystanders in the face of injustice.
It's about recognizing that silence can sometimes be a form of complicity. If we witness injustice and remain silent, we're essentially condoning it. And that goes against the very essence of Ihsan, which calls us to actively promote good and oppose evil.
And this commitment to justice and righteousness is essential not only in the public sphere, but also within our own families. We can't advocate for fairness and compassion in the world while neglecting those same principles within our homes.
That's an important point. It's about practicing what we preach, about creating a culture of respect, empathy, and understanding within our families, where every member feels valued, heard, and supported.
Exactly. Ihsan begins with our personal relationships, with how we treat our parents, siblings, spouses, and children. It's about establishing those foundational values of kindness, compassion, and justice within the family unit, which then ripple outwards into the wider community.
It's like a beautiful tapestry, where each thread, each individual act of Ihsan contributes to the overall strength and beauty of the design. And when enough people commit to weaving those threads of righteousness and excellence, it can transform the entire tapestry of society.
This deep dive into Sunan al Tirmidhi has offered us a glimpse into the intricate patterns of that tapestry, highlighting the profound wisdom and guidance it offers for navigating the complexities of life and building a world where Ihsan flourishes.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this vast ocean of knowledge. It's definitely sparked a desire in me to delve deeper into Sunan al Tirmidhi and to continue exploring these teachings on family, community, and righteous living.
And that's the beauty of these texts. They offer a lifetime of learning and inspiration. Each time we return to them, we uncover new insights and discover fresh ways to apply these timeless principles to our modern lives.
I'm walking away from this deep dive with a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of what it means to embody Ihsan in my own life. It's not just about performing rituals or adhering to rules, it's about cultivating a state of heart and mind that permeates every aspect of our being and manifests in actions that benefit ourselves, our families, and the world around us.
And that, I believe, is the true essence of Ihsan, to strive for excellence in all that we do, motivated by a sincere desire to please God and to contribute to the well-being of humanity.
So as we conclude this episode of The Deep Dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder. What legacy of Ihsan do you want to leave behind in your own family and community? What seeds of goodness will you plant today that will continue to blossom for generations to come?
It's a beautiful invitation to reflect, to act, and to make Ihsan a living reality in our lives and in the lives of those around us.
May our journey towards embodying Ihsan continue to illuminate our paths and guide us towards a brighter future for ourselves and for generations to come.